Hello, everybody. Welcome to, what is this, Facebook? I got it mixed up today. I was saying FaceTime. Facebook. All right, we got a great show tonight. We're live again from, we're going to go live on the radio in about 2 minutes. We have some special guests here. We're going to show you if you're on Facebook and you can during a 7-minute break, we're going to do just a little canine demonstration. And so those of you who are lucky enough to have Facebook, or you don't have a life and you have Facebook, whatever it is, you're going to watch an amazing demonstration. So we're going to get started in a few minutes. Let me see what I'm looking for, my glasses. All right. And then we'll get going here, and it'll be fun. Do you have friends and family watching on Facebook?
I told them what a star Brody was going to be.
All right, we'll see about that. This is always dangerous working with live animals on live television but he's doing great. It'll be a lot of fun. And as soon as we get going, I do my little spiel here. Then we'll talk about why you're here, why Brody's here. I see crotch sniffing down here. So
Did you really?
Okay, so crotch sniffing is always one behavior that's unwanted by most human beings. What's that? I said, oh, good. I'm glad you're paying attention. You're catching my subtle humor.
Oh, and when you have the mic, you want to be like right
Really close.
Yeah.
I chew in like a fist like this.
30 seconds.
Okay.
All right, what did I want to talk about? I want to talk about Isabel. Who did I see? What did I say to you? Orlando.
Orlando's on the back of it.
What else did I say? Orlando. Oh,
Nashville.
South Jersey, Nashville. Yeah. I can't see.
15. In 5, 4, 3.
Welcome, everybody. Welcome to the Dish on Dogs. I'm your host, Mike Gould, affectionately known as the mayor of Hounds Town USA, home to the absolute happiest dogs on earth on most days. Hounds Town USA is for those of you who don't know, it's a fully interactive doggy daycare where dogs, pack animals, come and allowed to be dogs. We use I like to say they're allowed to hump, jump, and dump. Some people are offended by that, apparently. I'm here with Ashley, Danielle, and Lisa, who's Brody's owner. We're going to be introducing Lisa in a minute. Do you think that is, like, if I say hump, jump, and dump, we realize it's a dog, and we're kidding, right?
Right, it's a big doggy daycare concept.
It's like kids rolling around and doing playful things. Okay, so we have a ton of locations opening all over. We were just down in Nashville. They just actually, Jeff Ebarb, one of our franchisees, just signed a lease on a beautiful location, literally right outside the city of, not even outside, it's within the city limits of Nashville. So that's going to be really cool. Our friends Sean and Paige in Orlando, they're very close to signing a lease. So there's a lot of exciting things, oh, can I have my phone? I'm sorry. I wanted to yell at somebody, but it's my phone. My bad, as I say. All right. So, Ashley Pizzo, Danielle Janice, Lisa and her wonderful dog Brody. Janice. Her lovely dog Brody. We're on Facebook Live, so I encourage everybody, pull over to the side of the road, put your Facebook on, because we have some we have some really cool guests. Brody is down there. We'll tell you why Brody's here in a little while. Probably in our second segment, we'll talk about Brody, introduce Lisa. What else do we have to talk about, Ashley? What's the goal of our show?
Our goal of our show is connecting the gap between humans and dogs.
Yes, right. So there's this, what we call this anthropomorphism. Anthropomorphism is humans ascribing kind of human traits and expectations to animals that they just can't fulfill. So we at Hounds Town, we understand what a dog's real needs are. And their needs are frankly, very simple. They want to run around, they want to sniff each other's butts, and that's socially accepted. When they come home and they don't understand how to, they cross that line, and that's one of Brody's problems, right? He's a crotch sniffer. So we're going to talk about that. Why is that? Why do they do it? And why is it inappropriate? So So at Hounds Town, dogs can get dropped off at 6, 7 o'clock in the morning, run around like lunatics all day long, just like children go to a playground. It's not a nice thing. It's a social requirement for children, humans, to interact with other humans. So Hounds Town, other than just being a daycare where people just drop their dogs off so they can go shopping or play golf, it has a therapeutic, it's therapeutic for weight-wise, arthritis. A lot of times we'll see overweight dogs, arthritic dogs. You'll very rarely see dogs at Hounds Town that come on a relatively regular basis that have any of those conditions. Their immune system is developed because they're exposed to a lot of, even if they get kennel cough once or twice during their time, or if they get into a dog fight, these things occur. It's never pleasant when your dog or your child scrapes his knees or gets hurt at school interacting, but it's almost expected. If you play jiu-jitsu, football, any interactive sport, there's the possibility of that. Kids get sick at school, they get runny noses, they get all these things. As they get older, their immune system develops. So there's a lot of physical benefits to that. I don't know how much time we have here, but
Your clock's right there.
oh, right. Oh, so they moved. Right, okay. Wasn't it used to be here? You're messing with me. All right, I got it. All right, Mike, it's right there. Okay, I feel better. I was panicking, so I was talking more than I normally talk, which is frightening, right? Because I got 6 minutes to chit-chat now. All right, what else? Talk to me, dear.
Well, we even have a couple of cases where we like to talk about, it's almost like, not occupational hazards, but when you have your dog doing certain things, there could be a negative reaction.
There's a risk. There's a risk. There's a risk of us walking outside this airport. Probably a greater risk for us here than any dog at doggy daycare.
Like,
we're sitting in an airport.
I had a horse show on Sunday,
right,
and there was no trailer available, so we found some guy we have never used before, and he's all into like holistic horsemanship, and nothing was his fault, but I pulled in, and I pull in to see my horse has flipped over in the trailer, and she ripped her head open, and her side, it was kind of a mess. She got loose, was running around the property, so it was a little bit of a vet bill and everything, but the first thing people are like, oh, well, was it them, but it's not a blame game, it's kind of just, it happens, and I saw everything, it wasn't abuse, she just got nervous for some reason,
got spooked
on the new trailer, and
right. So basically, fundamentally, what you're saying is accidents do happen. Obviously, there is a requirement on us and everybody to do due diligence, but when you're dealing with live mammals, whether it's children or dogs or horses, there's a requirement that but accidents can happen. Anything can happen. And obviously at doggy daycare, it's no exception. They're pack animals whose goal in life is to insert themselves in a pack. So one dog has to that's how they do it. Domestic dogs are quite obviously not as physical about it, but they still animals. They're predators. We're animals. We're predators. So we understand that. The question is, do our customers understand that? And by and large, they do. Our really long time, they understand the risk and the reward. So you want to take all that, or try to mitigate those risks. Don't have your dog interact. If you never want your child to get dirty, don't let them live in a bubble, and a sanitized bubble. So we've had that, particularly this time of year. And I have 4 minutes, so I do want to talk about it because it's ever present on my mind. So when dogs or children play, they get dirty. They get dirty. And they smell. They become odorous, right? So if your child goes to wrestling camp, football camp, whatever the hell camp they go to, and they don't get a bath for 3 or 4 days, I think they're going to smell a little bit. And their clothes are hopefully...
think a bit.
Right, and I'm hoping their clothes are dirty because that means they actually participated. So if you drop your kid off and he's got the same clean, bright clothes on that you dropped them off, he probably didn't participate in much sports. So at doggy daycare, when people drop their dogs off, particularly in the summer, it's hot, it rains, and dogs get odorous. So they're outside, they get a little damp, they come in, and when there's a group of 15, 20 dogs playing, their saliva is flying, they salivate through their mouths, and the saliva is flying. Dogs are going to smell. We offer all of our customers the opportunity to have what is that? Is that Brody? He's sleeping? I put Brody to sleep. Jesus Christ, this is a record. I put 7 minutes and I put Brody to sleep. I have this magical power of putting mammals to sleep, and anybody who listens to this show regularly knows that
They're already sleeping.
You're already sleeping, right? So, what the hell is? So Brody's snoring here, and Brody, by the way, we're going to bring him in the next segment. He's here with his human mom, Lisa, and he has behaviors that we're trying to. What are we trying to do? Shape them differently. Or he's a puller on the leash sometimes. When the doorbell rings, he goes ballistic. Is that a fair way to say it, Lisa?
That is
all right.
correct.
Ballistic. We're going to, in the second segment, explain. And on top of it all, he's a crotch sniffer. So, I mean, you know, he's gone. So he jumps when he meets people. But here's what we have to understand. He is a 3-year-old, fully mature dog. He's not mature. This is it. This is who he is. So we're beyond shaping behavior. And, you know, shaping behavior means when a dog is 3-4 months old, and if he never jumps on a table, if he never barks at the front door, he won't when he's 3 years old. But many times dogs are rescued, and sometimes they develop behaviors that humans unconsciously or unwittingly contribute to. So this would be more like rehabilitating. But what I'm going to tell you, we're going to introduce Lisa in the next, we're going to take a 2-minute break. Lisa's going to come back, describe Brody's issues. Then on our 7-minute break, we're going to do this fascinating canine demonstration where those behaviors are not going to be existing, I hope. Is that true, Professor?
I hope so.
The Professor, this is like a tightrope walking, so I want you to know this. This is live on Facebook Live, so this could be all wrong. I'm guessing the only problem is we're going to have to wake Brody up. Was he at daycare all day or no? Oh, okay. All right, Jesus. All right, so, and we're going to show you why he's at rest right now. So a dog's, what we'll describe and we'll talk about a little bit, they're always telling us something. Every moment of every day, the dogs are telling us something. So Brody's telling us now he's absolutely safe and secure, or he couldn't be sleeping. So that's what he's telling us. Did I wake him? Let's see. All right, for those of you on Facebook, sorry, Mike just jumped. So now I squeaky toy, and we woke him up from his pleasant dreams, and Lisa probably will get mad at me.
No.
Okay. All right. So the point of the matter is when we don't overreact to that, he's going to go back to sleep. And if he lived in a squeaky toy factory, he'd sleep right through it. If he lived in a doorbell factory, he'd sleep right through it. And we're going to explain this. Not only are we going to explain it, we're going to demonstrate it. So you're listening to The Dish on Dogs. I'm your host, Mike Gould, Hounds Town USA. 2-minute break. Then we're going to be back. We're going to introduce Lisa, Brody, and we'll see what the hell's happening here. All right. I didn't know this was over there. Hi, guys. All right, so what do I want to know? So we're going to watch this. If you can appreciate what I'm saying, the dog is telling us something every second. He's telling us something, and he's analyzing his environment every minute. We're literally in a bubble here at the airport, and John can show you. Swing around there, show that we're in it's literally like a bubble. And there's reflections, there's noises, and everything. So Brody, being a mammal, a dog, without a neocortex, he doesn't understand he doesn't understand anything. So it's up to us to explain them in dog. So we're going to try to communicate with him in dog. Is that the idea?
That's the idea.
All right, good. Is there anything else I forgot or I have to do? South Jersey. You see if Jackie's saying anything. Jackie.
Not yet. She's watching.
Hi, Jackie. Jackie's a wonderful woman. Wonderful. Wonderful. If you don't believe me, ask her. That's a joke. Come on.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
60 seconds.
All right, great. Hi, babe. Yeah, it's me. It's like, there's that asshole. I thought we got rid of him. No, I'm here. I'm here, Brody.
Literally my favorite. My favorite.
No, let's see. Damn right. Jackie's saying damn right. Oy vey.
20 seconds.
I do have that video. Can you put that on Facebook?
If you send it to me.
10,
Send send it to you. You could put it on Facebook Live.
Yeah.
In 5, 4, 3.
Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to the Dish on Dogs. I'm your host, Mike Gould, Mayor of Hounds Town USA, home to the happiest dogs on earth. Since our inceptions, we've taken care of over 1.2 million dogs. I think that's an incredible feat. And when I say we, I mean we. My staff is this amazing group of people that just understands the dog brain. What separates us from our competitors, there are competitors in everything we do, and there's never been more confusion in the human world than now, when there's so much information. There's books. Everybody is a dog trainer. Everybody's an animal behaviorist. Everybody in your next door neighbor is an expert on dogs. Everybody, the vet, the people, everybody. And our poor human brain is bombarded, and the simplicity of this is so simple, and that's what we're going to talk about today. We bridge that gap of what's real, what's not real, what dogs need, and what they don't need. Gabish, I'm here with Ashley, Danielle. I want to introduce the very lovely Lisa, who is the owner of very lovely Brody. Right? Brody is here sleeping. If you're on Facebook, you'll see that he's just cool. He's chilled, but he's not always this way. When the dog, let's just see, I'm going to do my little experiment. Can you see Brody over there? So I'm going to make a noise that would trigger most dogs. And you'll probably get mad at me at home because it'll probably trigger your dog, but... So now Brody just barely lifts his head off the ground because we've exposed him to this sound of this squeaky toy. A squeaky toy is nothing more than a dying animal. This one happens to look like a penguin, but it's not. It's the sound of a dog in distress, and predators want to kill it. So Brody, most dogs would like nothing more than to eviscerate this little penguin and take its guts out. So anyway, Lisa, welcome to the Dish on Dogs.
Thank you.
Tell me about Brody. Tell me about what we talking about before.
So Brody is coming up on 3 years old, and he is a rescue. We are just trying at home to correct some behaviors that we're finding is not only, if you want to use the term, offensive to us, but to visitors that come to our house. So the jumping, the overreaction to when somebody comes to the door, or they hear the ring sound on our phone. The crotch sniffing is a big problem.
That's a big one.
And helping himself.
Right.
He's tall enough where you can see
Right.
he can put his face right on top of the table, so he'll
Right.
go by and swipe whatever he thinks he should have.
Absolutely. And one of the problems is he's not aggressive at all, but that doesn't mean a 50 or 60 pound dog can't jump on a 10-year-old child and hurt them. So it really, in the lawsuit, it never says, it just says your dog hurt my, so it's important to teach boundaries. So I think my simple point is, he's a perfect example. He really is. He's a fully mature 3-year-old dog. If he was a 10-pound dog or a 20-pound dog, we might not be that concerned about it because he's not in the position to knock people over, jump on your counters. So he's our customer, right? I mean, that's the dog. And what has happened is, as we discussed off the air, dogs are required by the laws of nature. This isn't my idea, by the way. So when people come and they say, okay, I like your ideas, or I like your methods, or I don't like, take it up with Mother Nature, because she designed these dogs. So what do you think about, just a few minutes? You got here to the show about 20 minutes early, half hour early. I've never met Brody. I probably saw him, but I've never really interacted with him at all. So what do you think so far of what we're doing?
I think it's amazing. I think he is a completely different dog than he is at home. This is not how he behaves. Everything was corrected immediately. The moaning when he's sleeping, yes, that's
right.
a
The
must.
snoring, you can't. Jackie
The
tries to
snoring,
fix that
yes.
on me, and I can't. That's still.
But as for his behavior, when he was introduced to somebody new, there was no jumping. It was corrected. He responded to the correction. He appropriately walked next to Ashley, then appropriately walked next to me. So, big difference. It's almost like I'm not even looking at the same dog.
Well, that's pretty good. That's a good testimonial. And it's pretty obvious. And that's why we like to do this Facebook Live. That's why I make a little video. Because and again, one of the things I talk about is that this is so kind of simple. It's so simple. Human beings, human brain has a hard time understanding, because I'm assuming you as an average pet owner is going to ask people, how do I stop my dog from jumping? How do I stop my dog from counter surfing? Have you explored any of those things and tried other methods of...
I have. Obviously, my methods have not been working.
Right.
I'm trying. As for the method of a reward with a snack, that goes to the wayside after 3 treats. He's
Right.
done. So after that, he just spits the treats out, and it's no longer a
Right.
motivator.
And that's actually beneficial to you, because I'll tell you why. Because he's not food motivated, highly food motivated. You can't use food. Food is and I'll say this, and I would have this debate on anybody who'd like to talk about it. Motivating a dog to do things, tricks or reward for a treat, is not obedience. Obedience is the requirement of a dog to subordinate to leadership, not sitting for a treat. So in this case, Brody don't want treats anyway, so you had to come up with another method. What other things have you tried to do to stop the jumping, to stop the counter surfing and all that other stuff?
I do have the pinch collar.
Mm-hmm.
We've tried like a noise deterrent. So if he did it, there's a certain he'll have a collar that makes a noise.
Okay,
so
right,
that
right,
would
right.
only be associated with us
Right.
telling him not to. A few other things that we were instructed was to take the dog into another room on a lead until he calms down.
Right.
But there was one time I was in the other room for
3
well
days.
over an yes,
You didn't come out
well
for 3
over
days.
an hour, and
Right.
even when you let him up with the lead, he was still
Right.
like a lunatic.
Of course. And it's almost unwittingly a lot of, first of all, we can just, anytime, and again, there's methods, right? But the question is methods work. I know how to do every one of those. I know what a pinch collar is, and I'm not opposed to it. But if the pinch collar works, which it doesn't, the dog then is only working for the pinch collar. All dogs have to subordinate to the leader of the pack. That's it. It can't have different. So we have customers, sometimes they come in with a harness for the, going jogging, and they have a pinch collar for going to walks, and they got all these contraptions created by humans to modify dog behavior. So hopefully what we're going to see is getting, and of course this has been we've met literally 1 hour ago, and half the time we've been on the show, so I'm not making people into dog trainers. What I'm trying to do is get them to fundamentally not look, talk, touch, relax their body, the dog will relax, and stop. The human communication is with our mouth. So we communicate with our mouth. We don't communicate with our teeth and nose like dogs do. That's why the crotch sniffing, we'll get into the crotch sniffing after the 7-minute break. But all of these things are mammalian behaviors. And if you were blind and couldn't see, you'd have an enhanced sense of smell. So you would utilize your sense of smell. But this, again, is so simple. We're going to have squishy toys. We're going to have treats. We're going to try to
He hasn't
trigger.
moved, by the way.
What's that?
He hasn't moved.
Right. So that's my point. So when people say my dog goes crazy when the doorbell rings, or they go crazy when they hear the sound of the squeaky toy, your dogs at home are probably going crazy hearing that sound. So the point is, this is simple. How do I make it simple? It's hard, because we're just too damn smart, because we have a neocortex, an executive brain, and dogs don't. They have a mammalian brain that hasn't evolved in 500,000 years. They're the same as they were from wolf to domesticated dog. They don't stand erect. They don't have opposing thumbs. And I know I repeat myself, but it's important to understand that the dog is looking for Lisa's thumbs. He needs her thumbs to open doors, to get outside, to get food. He can't do any of this himself. How does he get up on the counter? He has only one way. He's got to jump, because he doesn't stand erect. He can't come sit at the dinner table and say, pass the pasta. Right? I don't think that's happening. So we have to, he has to adapt to the human world. We can't adapt to him. Do you have any words of wisdom, Professor?
Well, and like you were saying about the doorbell, a lot of, because when we had that dog Stella, we went to their house, and she went crazy at the door. She almost was aggressive. If you remember Stella, the hound dog who was on the show a couple months ago. It's the people reacting to the door also. that stimulates the dog. So the owner's
absolutely.
reaction to when the doorbell
And
rings.
we'll do that. We'll do a little demonstration. We'll take Danielle and show exactly what you're talking about. So let's go outside. Johnny's here is going to follow us around Facebook Live. We got about, just watch what we do here. You ready, Lisa?
I'm ready.
Atta girl. All right, bring this hound dog out there. And
All your tricks.
all my tricks and distractions. And then what we'll do is let Ashley kind of do the work first.
Sure.
And then you'll just join her like you did.
Okay.
That's excellent, excellent. All right, so the fact is we want him on your left side, we can't tell him to be on the left side. So from now on, if he's always on your left side, that's the place he'll be in the pack. Is that, so it's very, turn right. Atta girl. Look at Ashley, she's relaxed. There's no tension, there's no pinch collar, there's no buzzers, there's no nothing. The dog is just following the leader of the pack. This is what a pack does. If there was 7 dogs, they'd be following the leader. Make a left. You see her arms. There's nothing but a cloth collar on the dog. All right. Go left, and then Lisa will join her. Go join her. Perfect. Good. 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 Go catch up there. Come on, let's move this party along. You said you jogged, for God's sake. Let's go. Keep going. Good. Just go. Pass off that leash to Lisa. And then turn right, Lisa. Atta girl, just come by us here, right? So it's like she owns the airport. And trust me, there are distractions here. Look at how relaxed she is, and thereby the dog is relaxed. And we just taught him in 20 minutes to kind of be on her left side, and don't worry about distractions. Keep moving. She doesn't know how to play Simon Says. Simon didn't say stop. Keep going. Now make her right. Yeah, there you go. And you'll notice she's given a little snap of the leash. It's a tiny little correction to disrupt the thought process. Keep going. Now make a left turn. Good, right into her. Good, you're using right. So this is not about choking dogs. It's not heavy-handed. It's not about, make a left, a nice big left circle. Boom, look at this. This is amazing. Good, you keep going left. You're doing perfect. And then as you're going left, go left again, circle. And then come to a slow down and come to a stop. And just stop. And just ask him to sit. All right, okay. So that's good, stay here. So that was perfect. So she said sit, the dog sat. There's no yelling, screaming. And down the road, if we did this for a half hour, in 2 hours, he's gonna sit automatically because that's what he's supposed to be doing. Then, where's my squeaky toy? Oh. So, we'll push the envelope a little. Oh, well, I won't throw food down. Maybe I will. Good. That was excellent. That was excellent. Then, and again, this is not overt. We're not hitting the dog over. She's not doing anything. As when she relaxes a little more, resets herself, the dog will relax. Then, this is what's called avoidance. That's fine. It's avoidance. So he doesn't know what to do. So he's like that. So now all I need you to do, Lisa, is head that way and walk. And we'll go to you. There you go. Good. Go. Yeah, get him on your left a little. Yeah, that's good. Keep going. Good. Go faster. Now you can make your left turn, a nice big left. And then keep coming. What? Yeah, so then just right around there. Actually, let's make a left turn and head down the airport because I see somebody coming. So that's good. You just relax your shoulders. Keep moving. You made a little mistake because there's food on the ground. And just, kind of go to the right a little bit. No, not now, please. No. Thanks for asking, though. See? Huh?
Is that an airport dog?
Make a left.
Is that an airport dog?
Isn't it just the fact that he's in an airport? Yeah. We're training we're on TV. You want to say hello? Who are you? What's your name? I'm Mike. Hi, Mike. I'm Mike. This is Mike. Mike asked, he was a gentleman enough to say, can I pet your dog? And we said no. You weren't offended by that, right?
Oh, okay, that was a bit suicide.
Okay, right. Suicide watch. Come to a stop. Hang on, sir. Stay with me, all right? Ask him to sit. All right, good. Yes, we can. All right, good. Do you see the relaxation here? Now, you have any questions?
No.
You want to say hello to the dog?
Well, no, I don't want to bother anybody.
Okay, that's fine. All right, so then Danielle, let's go say hello to the dog. What? We're having fun. You're helping us out here.
Okay. What are you doing the video for?
America's Most Wanted.
Oh, I am.
No, say hello.
I'll say hello to them.
Yeah. So notice the dog is not crotch sniffing. You're relaxed, right? You should get low, sir, if you don't mind. Can you? I'll help you out. Get low.
If he bites, I'm in trouble, huh?
Yeah. But do you understand what's happening? Huh?
Is he allowed to lick if he's petting him?
No. Well, in this case, that's exactly the answer to that. But we just met Mike. He doesn't understand, so we're not gonna. So yeah, so the dog started licking. Lisa just gave him a little correction, and that's wonderful.
Wow.
Now we made this wonderful introduction, so now it's ready. You're ready to go that way. So just make a right and go, and then just go, and you just go. Good. That's excellent. She's a perfect student. 3 minutes. Thank you, Mike.
Thank you.
You're a good sport.
I am. I think I said it.
Who says? I'm probably the only person that ever said that.
Probably.
Oh, hey, come on, we're good. That was a great thing here. And as you can see, if you look on the demeanor of the dog, just walk by me, you can see this demeanor. He's not afraid. So he just stops to sniff. No problem. Maybe he's got a poop. I don't know. Let's go right in.
Where'd you throw that snack?
All right, you picked up the snack. See, Lisa's figuring this all out. Let's go back inside. We did good. We gotta get back on the radio. Oh. Excellent. You really are a good student. It's not easy.
Stay with you.
Yeah, you can stay with me now. Yeah, just don't jump. There you go. You can't talk because they come over you. All right, that was nice. We met a new friend. Oh, ay vey.
50 seconds, guys.
50 seconds. Let's see what else we gotta talk about. Hold on the leash.
You want him to walk around in here?
A little bit.
Is that
Never
okay?
tension on the leash, unless you just want to drop the leash and then let it go. We can never ever put tension on the leash
Yeah.
anymore.
Yeah, you
Just
can
drop
drop
it.
it.
Drop it.
Yeah?
So this would be like your house, so think
Yeah.
about it. How complicated is that? He's gonna go where he goes and lays down. It's not a big influence. Most of this stuff is going to be you, number one, and then your family resetting themselves. When you reset
Okay.
yourself, the dog resets. All right, that was interesting. Good choice, Professor. I trusted you.
You couldn't have cued a stranger any better.
Right, exactly. And half the time these people are like out of Hollywood casting.
5, 4, 3.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Dish on Dogs. I'm your host, Mike Gould. We just had a very interesting segment with Lisa and her wonderful dog, Brody. I got to give a couple of shout outs, as always. I got to give a shout out to my good friends and listeners in Florida, Tom and Joan Sullivan. They're, very devoted listeners. They're not sophisticated enough to have Facebook, probably smart enough not to have Facebook, so they just listen. All the rest of the lunatics down there, my good friend Scott Brezzolier. So anyway, I hope everybody's safe there. Isabella, we have a new friend, Isabella.
Wow.
Yeah, so she's listening. I hope, maybe she's listening. All right, so listen, for those of you who are watching Facebook, and if you didn't watch Facebook, how can they watch this video later? Are you going to post it? How does it work?
Yeah, so on Hounds Town Radio Facebook, the live videos are saved on there. But you can also go to YouTube and look up Hounds Town USA, and we got a bunch of stuff on there besides just the radio, but all the episodes are on there. And any kind of the turbo training you've done, any kind of events we've done at Hounds Town are on there too.
But particularly Lisa and Brody. So we met here at the airport, correct, Lisa? About
Right.
at 7:30
Yeah,
or so.
that little preview video is on
Yeah.
Facebook.
So
right?
all it was, it's really kind of simple. So the dog was used to doing certain things. So what we teach humans to do, and that's what we spent the last 45 minutes or an hour teaching the human Lisa to react to the dog's behavior. So the dog does A, Lisa does B. That's what dog behavior is. I hate to even say the word training, because training for humans sounds overt, like we're teaching them to sit and to stay. Most of these behaviors come natural. He's investigating he's roaming around the studio. But this is, again, what I'd like to describe. It is so simple that it's hard to do. So can you expand on what kind of, you came, we met, what's going through your brain and your mind, and do you have anxiety? Not anxiety, but what were you thinking when we did all this?
I was thinking it was not going to be as easy as it sounded, and that I wouldn't be able to replicate what Ashley was doing with him outside. But if you don't think of it so much and just do it, it
Right.
is as easy as it looks.
Right. And that's interesting. It's a good way of putting it. So most things are like driving your car. When you first drove your car, you were probably a little white knuckleish, right? You watch your parents drive the car since you're a child, and it looks pretty simple. And you jump in the car, but you're tense. So once you relax, which you did, and every time you handled the dog Brody, your dog Brody, you might not even realize how you started out as being tense. Your hand was up in the air, and I said, even when you were sitting in the parking lot, I said,
Yes.
drop your hand, because we're so used to being like prepared and tense because we're expecting, this crazy maniacal behavior. So you did great. There's good news and bad news. The good news is the dog is great and you're great. You're a great student. Because you've done it. So if your dog does well, it's because you're doing it, not because I'm doing it. We can't train dogs. That's the irony to this, right? We have people, they'll pay us thousands of dollars to have their dog come to them when they call them, or not run out the front door. I can train the dog not to run out my front door, but it's a very situational thing. So the problem comes in now with this little kind of introduction turbo training we call it turbo training because it happens relatively quickly. This isn't a long drawn out thing that requires a lot of practice. It either happens or it doesn't. It's not, so I'll go to people's houses and they've had other dog trainers or whatever, and they'll say, I've been working on the stay for 3 weeks. The stay should come in 3 minutes, not in 3 weeks. And again, what I hope that people that were watching was taken away. This isn't overt, heavy-handed. There's no talking. We make some sounds. We love the dog. It involves more love and respect of the dog than it does any kind of overt training him like it's the Marine Corps or something. So I hope that was the takeaway. So just expand on some of the other problems or questions you may have when you do get home.
I guess just making sure that the whole rest of the family I pass along what I learned today.
Right.
How easy that it is, and that they are comfortable with it also.
Right. And how old are your youngest? I know you said you had a 10-year-old.
My youngest is 10, and then I
Oh.
have a 13-year-old
Right.
and a 16-year-old.
Right. So this is the good news. Starting at about 10 is a good age for children, and you had mentioned that your 10-year-old is they're almost a good match with one another.
Yes.
Right. So a 10-year-old, obviously a 5-year-old cannot be the leader of a dog. They can't drive, they can't do really much of anything, just have fun and play. They can't do anything. They can't mow the lawn at 5 years old. They can't do anything. They can't make dinner. But as kids mature, they do more responsibilities. And 10-year-olds are at that perfect point in time in life that they can really embrace this because they're in a learning mode, number one, because they're going to school and they're being told what to do all the time. So they're in a learning mode. So if you said to me you had 3 cats, a parakeet, a 2-year-old, and that makes it very difficult. The more human energy inside your den, and it's not your den, it's not your house, it's Brody's house. He thinks it's his. That's why he feels this compelled to start barking at the door when the doorbell rings. So once you take that back, take the furniture back, take the counter back, and just take it back just by physics. It's not big movements. And then if you can get your children to do, they'll probably adapt to this more because as we get older, we're more set in our ways. We think we know everything. I know everything. I have a lot of faults, but being wrong isn't one of them. But so we're set in our ways, and it gets more difficult to learn new things, right? We do everything the same. You put your pocketbook, I put my wallet. We're creatures of habit. We do the same thing. And dogs have figured, this dog, Brody, and your other dog, show the dogs. Russ. They figured you out. There's nothing else for them to do. They're not thinking about Disney World. They're not thinking about who's going to shovel the snow out of the driveway. They are just watching your entire pack, including your 10-year-old, your children, your husband, and you. And they figure out who's who. Everybody in your pack gives the dogs something. So children are great at dropping hot dogs and food on the ground. So a dog will gravitate towards somebody who they think, maybe dad, I don't know, takes them outside, whatever. Moms, whatever the roles, the human roles are, the dogs have to figure that out with their dog brain of who feeds me, who loves me, who plays with me, who might drop a I'll hang out over here by the table. It's likely that some food might fall on the ground. What did you think about this?
I thought it was good, and just going through a little bit of the scenarios, but like when you go home, as far as answering the front door, it doesn't have to be dogs on the left side and you're heeling them around your house.
Right.
It's more of someone's coming up, don't stress about it, or if the ring goes off, and almost don't get up for the ring doorbell.
Exactly.
Right?
Right.
Probably what you would say for the first couple minutes.
Of course.
And you can set this up so you can have your husband come home, tell him, listen, I'm not going to answer the door right away, and just see that there's no stress, and then go up to answer the door, and then if Brody crosses a boundary as far as jumping or sniffing, then you would just pick up the leash and correct him, but you just leave the leash on.
Right. When we say correction, we're talking about it's a contact that disrupts the dog's thoughts. That's the best way to do it. It's not a pinch collar. It's not an electric collar. There's no overt force. It's not choking the dog. It's not kicking the dog. It is simple correction as dogs correct one another. As we obviously know at doggy daycare, dogs use their canine teeth, their 4 canine teeth, as you know very well, to interact, and they resolve their conflict with their mouths and teeth. So right, and what the important thing you said is you don't have to wait till the Labor Day party or the 4th of July party. Practice it. You just set the dog up, put some food, put a hot dog on the counter. And when the dog jumps on it, correct them, just like we did when the dog was sniffing somebody's foot. That was the beginning of crotch sniffing. So we watched Brody every time he greeted somebody. After then he sniffed their feet. A person's feet tells a dog a lot about them. Your shoes tell you where they've been, where you've been, it tells you a lot. And
right. And the crotch sniffing, what I just thought of now, is probably a good way to get someone to touch you. I mean, if the dog goes to
absolutely,
crotch, most likely you're going to push him away.
And jumping. You're absolutely right, Professor. That's why you're called the Professor. Because, right, so we inadvertently train our dogs in intention, just like she said. So if a dog sniffs your crotch, you probably are going to push the dog away or turn away. So that's an amazing thing for a dog to be able to get that reaction out of a huge mammal. And the same thing, the dog jumps and we touch them. So knowing they always want our hands, right? So you almost counter-train the dogs unwittingly. We're going to take a break. We're going to come back. I want to talk to Danielle because she loves Brody.
I do.
You do, right?
Yeah.
She loves Brody and she loves Steven. You still love Steven, or is that right? Okay, we're going to go. Oh, boy. All right.
Yeah,
We're coming back in about, what? How long is this? 2 minutes.
2 minutes.
2 minutes. We're going to come back. We're going to end this ridiculousness and go home. But stay with us. We'll be right back after the break.
Was he over by you?
Who?
He's right
No,
here.
he's perfect.
It's
Right.
like, what?
So somehow
They
you'll
can't be
get
able
her. You'll get her the top. If you watch now, here's the good part: is you can watch any of our videos now on YouTube, and you'll see exactly what we do, and now you know how to do it. So if we say correct the dog, before this you might be like, all right, go hit him over the head, or so correcting is just a disruption. But you have to use this collar. If you use your flat collar, you're just wasting your time.
Yeah.
You're actually making the matter worse again because once you get
It's
into
like
this tug of, exactly, thank you. So so I'm excited. I was happy about that.
Russ is easy to, they're both rescues, so I don't know really what happened the whole first years. So Russell is a little more, if you raise your voice, he cowers a lot. So, but he's corrected quickly. So when you were saying about swiping the food off of the table, although he's smart, he's not doing that when we're sitting there.
Right.
He does that the minute he knows somebody left the room and there is food up there. He goes
But we're going to
right
talk
up
about that.
and he gets it. So he does wait for it. He's smart.
Right.
He waits for you to leave the room.
But this is where the complicated part is, where we talk about a dog always has to be under the human supervision. So
Right.
that we'll talk about that a little, because some people are like, well, I got to go take a shower. When we take a shower, the dog goes in their crates. But that's a whole other crate training. is another mental block for people, like they hear
Nope,
crate.
they both go in their
All right,
crates.
so then let's talk about this
They
because
both
you
go in
have
their
all your
crates.
problems solved. They're solved. There was
Dang
something
it.
I was going to ask. I forget now.
But they do both go
Well,
in
where
their
did you get them
crates.
from? They rescues from where?
Yeah, one was, is it NAPCAR or?
I don't know,
That
but
was
they're
Russ.
rescues.
And then he was local, they go up there at Petco, oh my gosh, the name is escaping
Last
me.
Don't worry, they're all like
Last chance.
last
Yeah.
chance, happy chance.
4,
They're all the
3.
final chance. Absolutely the last chance.
That's sad.
Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to the Dish on Dogs. I'm your host, Mike Gould, mayor of Hounds Town USA, home to the happiest dogs on earth. And we really had a great show today. And this was really flying by the seat of our pants in this sense. We have Lisa and her dog Brody, who are customers of ours at Hounds Town. And he has not major behavior. He has dog issues. He pulls sometimes, he barks, he jumps, and he does these things, which is dog behavior. They're supposed to do those things, but it's not always supposed to do it. They have to do it at acceptable and appropriate times. So we had Brody here, and when I say flying by the seat of the pants, we met Lisa at the airport. I trusted Ashley that this was going to be okay, which we don't know. So. And it was, so back to Lisa, it was a pretty good experience, would you say?
Most definitely.
All right, great. Then we talk about what we were saying on the break about the counter surfing. Like, in other words, they're good, but...
Oh yes, he's good when there are humans present, but the minute he knows that leftovers or something is up on the table, he knows the minute the human leaves the room that it's up for grabs, and because he's very tall and it doesn't take much for him to get his head, he just takes it.
Right.
It's his.
Right. So what we put together at Hounds Town, a list of 10 simple things that we ask people to do. And when you do it, it's a management system. It's not a training per se. It's a management system. And if you go on our website, what do they do? Hounds Town
University.
We have thousands of videos. We have different names, boot camp, turbo training, but we keep it simple. The dog always, and this is a problem that most humans really struggle with, the dog always has to be under your supervision. Doesn't mean you have to be holding a leash, but just like a 2 or 3 year old child, when are they ever out? You would never have a 2 or 3 year old child go play in the backyard and you go take a shower, right? We wouldn't do that. So we always put them in a safe and secure situation. So with the dogs, so yeah, obviously Lisa, what she says happens, right? Kids would do the same thing if there was ice cream or candy on the counter, you know. So what we do is always give the dog food in his crate. You always get every morsel of food they get in their crate. And when they're out of your supervision, when you have to take a shower, you got to run to 7-Eleven, providing their needs were met. Their needs meaning you go out in the backyard, they run around for 15, 20 minutes, do whatever they want to do. They want to chase a frisbee, chase a ball, or they don't. A lot of dogs just want to go out in the back and smell odor. They want to smell the odor of the animals that were in your backyard the night before. So they go out and they sniff, and that's wonderful. Once their needs were met, just like a child, you change their diapers, and then you put them down for a couple of hours. And that's what we do with dogs, because dogs are eternally 2 or 3 year olds, psychologically, and even beyond that. I mean, my granddaughter, who's 9 months old, 10 months old, she can do more than a dog can ever do, right? They have thumbs, they have opposing thumbs, so they can pick things up, and they can do kind of amazing things. They can follow your finger. Dogs can't do that, really. Dogs won't follow your finger unless you have something in it. Anyway, does any of this make sense to you, Lisa? I have to ask. I've been babbling here now for 45 minutes.
It does. It all makes sense.
All right, good. Thank you.
And everything has been working so far that you've showed me here, so that's great.
Right. And it will, it will regress because, this is brand new to you. So these concepts are simple to us because we've done it thousands of times. The good news is you were able to perform it. So you did it. This is why we video a lot of these things, to see that it's possible. So Danielle,
Yes.
Let's get you in on this conversation. So you know Brody.
Yes.
And why do you love him so much?
Because he licks his glass kennel.
He licks his glass kennel all the
He
time.
licks his what?
He
when you walk
Yes.
by.
Licks his,
Other people
oh,
see
glass. I thought you
glass.
said something else. I thought you
Oh,
said,
no.
oh, he licks his
Every
glass.
morning.
Every
you go-
morning he licks the
Yes.
kennel and he like pushes his face up against it and it's the cutest thing
He
I've
does
ever
that
seen.
at home.
Right.
on
Well,
the
want to know why?
glass.
Because he knows that we go over there, we bet him.
Yeah.
That's why
Right.
he has a string at Hounds Town.
That's so funny. So tell me what it's like when he comes. I'm really just curious. Like I said, so he comes to daycare, and what happens? Is he got certain friends that he plays
Yeah,
with?
he's pretty much good with all of the other dogs. He's very crazy, has lots of energy, but I don't know, I just really like him.
You know, he's a very cool dog. And yeah, so again, each one of these, it's kind of funny to me. I've been doing this for a long time, and dogs do have friends. I would have never really, they have certain dogs that they like and play around with. There's certain dogs they don't necessarily care to be around. So it's kind of funny to watch. But as far as he's how do we say this politely with mommy here? Is he a handful, or is he like what's like? We do have dogs that are like,
Yeah.
oh God, they're like.
No, he's not like that. He goes with pretty much all the regular daycare dogs
Right.
that come here all the time.
Yeah, he's a good one
so
all
he's
the time.
really, he's just a good boy.
And that's what we like. We like just adaptable dogs. They come and they're balanced. So, so I think it's fabulous. This is like a great story. So Lisa and her family adopted both of their dogs, which we love that. And we don't know, as Lisa said, what was their history, or what do you think their history was on Russ and Brody?
Brody, I believe, was adopted to us. If I looked back at some of the paperwork, I believe when he was young, he had parvo, and then the owner at the time was pregnant, and it became overwhelming. Obviously treated, and then we received him. I think he was a year when
Right.
we received him. And then Russ, not too much history on
Right.
Russ.
And the good part about dogs, their history isn't that relevant. It really isn't. I mean, we try to psychoanalyze certain behaviors, like, well, I wonder, so you were saying earlier, I think that Russ was maybe a little shy or timid. So the natural human thought process is that he may have been, mishandled or abused by somebody. But 9 times out of 10, what we see is this is just their genetic predisposition. They're just kind of that way. And we see that. And the good news is, as I said, and this is what makes dogs wonderful, they live in the moment of time. They're not thinking, there is really, when you think about it, there's no big future. There's no college coming up for Brody. He's not going to be he's not going to technical training or anything. He's not joining
Licking the glass.
Right. He's going to be a glass cleaner.
He's just a lover.
He's a lover, exactly. So isn't that great? That's it. So they live in the moment of time. He may be able to, right, if we can figure out how to make this glass cleaning into a skill that we could, right, but that's the beauty of animals. They're just live in the moment. They either trust you or they don't trust you. And when they trust you, they go to sleep and relax. This is it. So dogs spend 80% of the time sleeping. They don't need as much as what people think they do. We think, because humans need a lot. We're dramatic, we're emotional, we're complicated, so we need a lot. So the same things we do with the kids, football camp, lacrosse, all of this crazy stuff, lessons, and dogs just want to be loved and accepted, and they want to trust you. And that's what we establish here. So we balance out their energy. So now we're sitting here in our little bubble. There's people walking around, looking in, and Brody is as cool as a cucumber. Gabish? Yes? No?
Yes, he
all right.
is.
All right. So we like all this. I want to thank you for coming to our show. This is the start. It could be, dog ownership isn't dog ownership. It's a relationship, right? So dogs are not like possessions. They're part of your family, and you develop a relationship. They have needs. Your kids have needs. Everyone's a little different. You have 3 children. I'm assuming each one has a different personality.
Oh, yes.
They're not cookie cutter just because they might genetically be, they're not exactly the same. One might be shy, one might be academic. Dogs are precisely that way. So don't make dogs, don't try to project, and I'm not talking to you, of course, I'm talking to the audience. Don't try to make dogs things they're not. Don't make them therapy dogs. Don't make them things, don't put all your crap, project all your stuff on a poor little dog that just wants to be a dog. As I say all the time, they're therapeutic. Brody is a therapy dog. Why? You pet him, he makes you feel good. His tail wags, he kisses you, and that makes you feel good. So leave the dogs just be. Accept them as dogs. Accept children as children. Don't try to make them astronauts. Don't try to make them things that they're just not inclined to do. Would you say that's good advice, Professor?
I think it's great advice.
Leave them be. All right, folks. So this was the Dish on Dogs. Next week, I don't know what we're going to be talking about.
We never do.
We never know what's happening. We just ramble on. I talk too much for radio, which is odd. All right, folks. Thanks for joining the Dish on Dogs. See you next Monday live on Facebook Live, probably.
Yep, 8 o'clock.
8 o'clock. Ciao. All right, that was cool.
Thank you for